Many of you are not going to believe what I'm going to tell you today unless you've actually been following the story, in which case you will absolutely believe it. YouTube demonetized 75% of our video clips that we uploaded yesterday from yesterday's program. Yesterday's show that we did for you, which we spent all day producing, of course, and filming and editing and all of that stuff, contained 8 separate clips that we uploaded to YouTube. And upon uploading them, 6 of the 8, or 75%, were instantly demonetized by YouTube's algorithm. 75% of the work we did yesterday, the content that we spent all day producing, was in a fraction of a second deemed not advertisers friendly and thus unable to earn any revenue for us on YouTube. So I want to be really clear here about what I am saying and about what I'm not saying. I'm not saying that we have a legal issue on our hands here. Let me be clear. I'm not saying YouTube can't choose to monetize or not to monetize whatever they want. But let me also be clear that we're playing by the rules. And this is not how the system is supposed to work. We don't do profanity on our channel. We don't do violent and gory images. We don't harass people on the basis of their sexual orientation or other characteristics. We don't bully people. We don't dox people or anything like that. We produce FCC safe progressive news and commentary. And while we're supposedly playing by all of YouTube's rules, more and more of our content is being demonetized. So yesterday, we produced the show, we paid salaries to our staff, we paid studio rent, we paid utilities, we paid connectivity, we paid health insurance, but the clips, 75% of them, make no money on YouTube. Hundreds of thousands of views yesterday from these clips that make no money on YouTube. So this is a systemic issue. And notice, I don't want to be misquoted. There are articles that now there are media outlets following my coverage of what's going on YouTube, and they have started to misquote what I am saying. I am not saying we are being demonetized for being left-wing or progressive, okay? The right has preached sob stories for years about the anti-right-wing bias on YouTube and everywhere else. I am not saying this is anti-left-wing bias. The evidence that I found is that this is anti-independent bias and pro-corporate bias within the news and politics space on YouTube. So I think I just have to kind of get real with you here about the situation. I had to reach out to our partners this week and basically say, this may never be resolved, okay? This may simply be the new normal. And we need to kind of reposition our expectations around the reality that this may never be fixed because, again, I don't think YouTube believes anything is broken. I don't believe YouTube thinks there is anything to fix here. This is the system they want because it's safe for them because their advertisers like it. There's also what appears to be a growing issue of people being unsubscribed from our channel and others that are independent news and politics. And I am seeing this in the analytics. I've received hundreds of emails from people who say, David, I've been a subscriber for a month. I've been a subscriber for a year. I've been a subscriber for 5 years to your YouTube channel. I went to your channel today because I didn't notice any of your videos on my homepage. And I noticed that the subscribe button was enabled, meaning I was able to click subscribe because I had somehow been unsubscribed from your channel. Now, I know a lot of people are going to hear me say this and they'll email me and say, David, this is happening to me as well. I've already told YouTube about it. I've told them about it 10 times. All I can say is make sure you're subscribed right now. I mean, check right now if you're watching on YouTube and click the subscribe button if you aren't. If you're listening on the radio or to the podcast or whatever, consider going to YouTube and subscribing to our channel there as well. So I'm exploring many other options to try to deal with this issue that we're experiencing. The most direct is not, moving our content to some platform with no audience. Sadly, I know people email me. They say, David, start uploading to X, Y, or Z website. Moving our content to websites where the content isn't monetized and there's nobody watching is not a solution to the problem, okay? So what's important to understand is if we didn't have any other revenue sources, we might be in a position to have to change our story choices in order to save our revenue. And what I mean by that is if we didn't have revenue coming in through membership or through Patreon, I might have to start each day thinking, okay, here's the 6 stories I want to do, but 4 of those are likely not to make any money on YouTube. I guess I'll pick some different stories. I would never want to do that. That is the death of independent media. The whole point here is we cover what we believe to be important. And this is how these monetization algorithms set the agenda and drive the narrative by making certain content financially unsustainable. So that's the freedom that we get when people support us directly. And as more and more people contribute via direct membership and Patreon, you are basically buying us a little sliver of immunity from having to even think about making decisions like, here's the stories I want to cover, but they're not going to make any money. Maybe I'll pick some stories that YouTube's algorithm would find to be brand safe. I can't afford to spend all day researching and filming and editing and having our staff do that and pay salaries and health insurance and rent only to lose out on the monetization. So as I've said it before, I'll say it again. The way to fix this is simply to fund the shows you like directly, okay? Become a member, www.joinpakman.com. It's really cheap. It's really quick. You get cool stuff, but you buy us immunity from this disastrous situation that's taking place. There is a discount code for membership. This is 2020, which will save you 40%. If you want to do something else, you can go to patreon.com/David Pakman Show, especially if you already are giving to other producers on Patreon. Throw us $1 a month. Throw us $2 a month. It really does make a difference. Patreon.com/David Pakman Show.